Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I've got a real treat for you tonight. Someone who I've always admired in her career and always wanted to meet. I think I may have had a poster of you up at some point in time in one of my my rooms. I have to admit. Actually, I won't admit that. And you've now gone into the real estate business, and so I wanted to reach out to you to find, why the real estate business, and frankly, I'm interested in what's going on because I understand that you're doing work in sort of the resort community of Collingwood, and so what's happening in the real estate business in that area. Our guest is Monika Schnarre. She is an actor, a model, a television host, and now has her sights set on a new career. Monika, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me.
So tell me, why the real estate business and why Collingwood?
Well, privately, I've been flipping real estate my entire life. And it's really sort of helped me through, between acting and modeling jobs. And during the pandemic, I started thinking about what I really wanted to do that could help me stay at home with my son and still be able to do something that I was passionate about. And so I just got my license, and I love the idea that you can affect someone's entire life, by where they live. It's who they meet. And, I never would have met my husband if a real estate agent hadn't introduced me to my cottage. So I just loved that idea about the business, the sliding doors idea that I could really affect someone's entire life. And so I just graduated and started a new career.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. Let me read you all. I think lots of our listeners will be familiar with your bio, but let me just read a little bit of the bio. At 14, Monika was the youngest ever to win the prestigious Ford Modeling Agency's Supermodel of the World competition. By 15, she was the youngest to have ever appeared on the cover of American Vogue and in the pages of the coveted Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Monika then moved to Los Angeles to pursue an acting career and has since appeared in over 50 films and television shows, including The Bold and the Beautiful, King of Queens, and Junior. She has also worked as a television correspondent on such prestigious shows as E-Talk, Cityline, and ET Canada. Today, Monika has her sights on yet another challenge as a real estate agent. Fantastic. What an incredible experience. What an incredible career that you've got. And you're now living in Collingwood?
I am. When my son started school, kindergarten, that is, some people say, oh, university. I have a young son. We looked at Collingwood. We wanted to sort of have a country style life for him, less traffic, better parking. And so we moved to Collingwood.
And how do you like it?
I love Collingwood. I love that we can ski and, wakeboard, and we can do everything here. And we're very outdoorsy. So my son's very athletic. So I love the lifestyle that Collingwood affords us.
Fantastic. We're going to take a break for some messages and come back in just 2 minutes with Monika Schnarre and hear a little bit more about her career and about real estate, Collingwood, and what's happening with real estate in the resort setting. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. We're chatting tonight with Monika Schnarre, who is a model, an actress, and now a real estate agent. And we're finding out a little bit about her career and where she's come from, where she's going to, and why she's chosen real estate in the resort community of Collingwood to set her next mark. You were just, Monika, in Canada's Drag Race. What was that all about?
I'm a huge fan of RuPaul. I actually went to see RuPaul's show when she was in New York in the 80s. I think it was 1987 when I was 15, and I snuck into the club. I looked 30 anyway, but I've always been a fan of hers. And then they approached me a couple of months ago to be in the premiere episode for season 3, and it just aired last week on Crave. And I was really honored to be a judge. It was so much fun, and I was treated so well, and I hope they bring me back.
And tell us a little bit about the show.
So for people that don't know, it's a drag show. And basically you follow the contestants to the end to see who wins the the best drag queen. It's not just their beauty, but it's their intelligence, their acting skills, their sewing skills. They have to make their own costumes, and every week someone's eliminated.
Fantastic. And you were also recently on the cover of Hello Magazine. You seem to be everywhere these days. What's going on?
I don't know. You know what? You try and leave the business, you try and leave the entertainment business, and then suddenly I have 12 pages in Hello Magazine, and they put me on the cover, and I'm in Drag Race, and I don't know. I'm on the radio now with you. It's good. It's all good. I have to think less. I'm very linear in my thinking, and I think, oh, I have to leave this business to enter a new one. But you know what? It all helps. Each career helps the other, so it's fine. And I'm very grateful to have sort of this resurgence of my career.
12 pages in Hello, that's a lot.
I know. I've never had 12 pages in anything. So
and
it was.
And were you in swimsuits?
No, oh God, no. I'm 51. No more Sports Illustrated for me. It was a Canada Day special issue, and I was modeling Canadian designers, and it was about my life in Collingwood with my son, and it was very sweet, and they did a beautiful job.
Fantastic. Congratulations. And so now tell us about real estate. So you said that you chose it because you've always been involved in investing in real estate and flipping it. And you live in Collingwood. What do you think about the real estate business now? You know, interest rates are up high. Bank of Canada is increasing last time by 100 basis points. Some people think it's going to be another 100 in a couple of weeks. Looks like they're maybe trying to trigger a recession, and some people are suggesting that might be a depreciation in housing prices. So it sounds like a bad time to get in the industry. Why are you joining the industry?
It does and it doesn't. I mean, what we saw 2 years ago, we've never seen in Collingwood. There was one house that had 47 offers. Yes, interest rates now have leveled off. The housing market here, it's softened. We're not seeing as many multiple offers, but it's still strong. And, for a lot of people that moved here during the pandemic, they might want to sell their home now and go back to Toronto. So it's not such a terrible time to be in the industry. I find it fascinating. It's always cyclical. I mean, there's always ups and downs. And I mean, it's inevitable that everyone's been talking about the market softening for years now, and it's going to happen, and it has slightly, but it's still strong.
Now, if there is a recession, typically what happens with a recession, and particularly if there's a housing depreciation, is resort communities' second homes and luxury homes are sort of the first ones to go. People keep their primary residence, and people keep their sort of middle income family home, but it's the really expensive ones and the second ones that tend to go. So is that good for you or bad for you? Good because it's selling opportunities.
It's sad for the seller because generally people don't sell their second home unless they have to. So it's good for business, but it's hard for the seller. But some people do have to sell for reasons that are not unfortunate as well.
And have you started to see that yet or not yet?
We have, but there is not a lot of inventory yet on the market. That's the problem. There's no inventory. So we haven't seen that yet.
Really? That's interesting. Now, the other trend is that, what'll happen is that you'll get a slowdown in how quickly people will buy. And so therefore houses will go on the market longer. They'll sit there and people won't reduce their price expectations for a while. Is that happening?
It is, because people are really kicking themselves that they didn't sell 6 months ago. There was a 68.7% increase over last year in 2001 in prices in Collingwood. So they're really kicking themselves. They don't want to budge on the price because they want to get what they could have gotten 6 months ago. So things are sitting a bit longer, and it's unfortunate for the seller.
Now, what about the impact of COVID? I think one of the reasons why a lot of people went to Collingwood and or other sort of, non-Toronto cities, 705, 519, et cetera, was on fire, was because people didn't have to commute to downtown Toronto. They were remote working. They were working from their home. But now that we're sort of back or going back in a lot of people think a hybrid kind of scenario, are people, moving back to Toronto, leaving Collingwood?
They are. We saw a huge influx of people, and the population increased in Collingwood, but we have seen people move back home to Toronto. They lived in their chalets, they lived in their ski chalets or their cottages for 2 years. And now we are seeing people, moving out, but keeping their second home anyway. So it was actually, it was a lot of people here were disgruntled because they weren't supposed to be moving into they were supposed to stay put. Yep. But it was, the economy is booming here, the trades are booming. And so you can look at it two ways, but they are slowly moving back home.
What about, appraisals or bank attitudes and things like that? Have the banks become tougher?
Ever since 2008, they've been really tough, and we certainly don't want to see what happened then happen again with the subprime market. So I think they're still really tough. You have to jump through a lot of hoops these days to get a mortgage, and pass the stress tests. But I think that's probably a good thing, because we are over borrowed as a society and over leveraged. So it's not a terrible thing.
Mm-hmm. Now you've got a great name and a great history, great reputation. How are you using that to get involved in the real estate business? Because real estate is all about, at least I think it is, picking an agent that you like, you trust, that you want to work with, isn't it?
It is. I'm very fortunate because I have such a wide range of people in my life, and I've been very fortunate to meet so many people, and I have to get used to going from my private life now, because when I'm not out and about in public, I am quite private, and now you have to sort of let and I'm embracing it. I'm really enjoying meeting people and sort of being more outgoing. I'm not, when I was acting and modeling, I'm not so great at pushing myself, and so I didn't have to, because I had agents for that. But now I have to learn to promote myself, which is new to me. Yep. And shake hands and tell people what I do. And but again, I have such a huge, vast storage of friends that are helping me out, and I'm really grateful.
Fantastic. Tell me about the different segments of the market in Collingwood. You've got people that are on the mountain, people that are on the lake. You got Thornbury. What are the different markets, and how do you sell differently into those different segments?
You know what? You can really find everything up here. If you would like to build, there are empty lots, beautiful vistas and views from the mountains. You can have a hobby farm. You can live on, like you said, on Georgian Bay. You can have a ski chalet. There's really something for everyone. You can live downtown Collingwood and have a 100-year-old heritage home. So it's really meeting the client's needs, whatever they're looking for. We really have something for everyone.
And the city has really changed dramatically in the last, I guess 2 decades. But the Blue Mountain is the village there is spectacular. But Collingwood itself is spectacular. The main drag is really upgraded, has it not?
It really has, and we just hosted our first Pride weekend here. It really has. I mean, when I first started coming here 15 years ago, there was a handful of restaurants. And now I think we have world-class restaurants and shops, and it still has that small town feel on the main street. And if you're living downtown, you can walk everywhere. But it's really come a long way, and I think it's only going to get better.
And it's a Four Seasons city resort town now, is it not?
Yeah, a lot of people think of it as a ski town, but I mean, people come from all over the world to, go mountain biking and paragliding, and we have everything here. In the summer, it really is now Four Seasons.
Now, with your background and your history, you could have gone to Vail. You could be still in LA. You could be, anywhere. Why'd you choose to come to Collingwood?
So I moved home when, when my mom was, when her health was failing, and I just wanted to be close to family. And then I met a Canadian boy, and the rest is history. So I love Canada, and I had spent the majority of my adult years in the States. So it was just time to come home.
And this was Collingwood, or did you come back to Toronto first?
I moved to Toronto, and we just moved to Collingwood 4 years ago.
Oh, okay. Excellent. But you've been coming up for 15, I think you said.
Yes, correct. My ex-husband is from Collingwood. So we've been coming up, and my son's grandmother lives here. So we have ties to Collingwood, and it was on my radar for a long time that if I had a child, I would love to live here.
Excellent. And what's your favorite restaurant in Collingwood?
Oh, you're going to get me in trouble because I know all of the owners. I really love Tesoro. It's an Italian place. It's all about, for me, the ambiance, and the food is delicious, but it's nestled in this heritage building, the old schoolhouse, and it's beautiful.
Okay. Want to give me another one?
Sure. The new Tremont is now Poppies, where the old Tremont, the new Tremont moved. Sorry, it's lovely. And then where the old Tremont was, which was a brothel, by the way, is now called Poppies.
Was a brothel?
It was
Long time ago.
1800s. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And are you a skier?
I get down the mountain. I'm not a very good skier. I did not grow up skiing, but
what's your favorite slope?
Oh, I really love Devil's Glen is where we go, and my son ski races. So I think it's lovely there, but every club has their own sort of uniqueness, and everyone has a great hill. So
right. And where's your favorite après ski place for drinks after you've been skiing?
Oh, it's if you're with some tourists, it's fun to go to the village. The locals stay away from the village on the weekends. I love to go to Devil's Glen afterwards, or Huron Club.
Now tell me about Thornbury. Do you sell in Thornbury as well?
I do. It was sort of the precursor to Collingwood becoming popular. A lot of Torontonians moved up to Thornbury, and it's very chic. They have beautiful restaurants, also charming, and world class restaurants. All of Fabrica. So beautiful place to live, and you also have those vistas and mountain properties that you don't really think of when you move to Collingwood. A lot of people move to the water, but I really love those farm properties sort of at the top of behind the mountain.
It's a great place that you've chosen to make home and to make your business.
Yeah, thank you.
If people want to hire you as their real estate agent, is there a website that they should go to?
Sure, you can go to Engelvoker. That's my brokerage, engelvoker.com, or just find me on social media like Instagram, and my number's there now for the world to see.
We're going to take a break, 2 minutes with some messages, and come back with Monika Schnarre in just 2 minutes. Stay with us, everybody. Well, I'm having tonight a great time. I think every Canadian male would love to have the opportunity to interview Monika Schnarre, who is one of the youngest people to ever be awarded supermodel status. Monika, tell us a little bit about what it was like at 15 to become a superstar model.
Well, I won this contest called the Supermodel of the World. I find the name very funny, but it was the Ford contest, and I was 14, and it really just was such a crazy time in my life. I mean, I went from being a kid at school in Scarborough to being on the world stage, winning this thing in LA, and then shooting for Vogue, and appearing on the cover of Vogue at 15 and in Sports Illustrated. It was such it's hard to even describe how chaotic it was and exciting, but I'm grateful for it because it's, afforded me the life that I have and the travel that I've experienced and the people that I've met. So it was amazing, really.
What was it like being in Sports Illustrated as a swimsuit model?
Well, it's a lot less glamorous than you might expect. You get up at 4, you're freezing cold in a swimsuit somewhere, waiting for the sun to come up and getting eaten by bugs and burning yourself because you don't want to get sent home because you don't have a tan. And it wasn't the best, but it's nice to say that I was in there and at such a young age.
Tell me some of the places that you've loved to travel to as a model.
I always say that as far as cities go, I loved Prague. The architecture was stunning, and Thailand was just beautiful to be in the countryside in Thailand. And I mean, every country has something beautiful to offer, and I've seen so many, but those stand out for me.
What was the most famous runway you walked on?
Oh, probably New York Fashion Week.
And what was your favorite dress, or who was your favorite designer?
Oh dear. I was so fortunate. I worked with Azadine Alaya, and for me, more it was about working with the best photographers in the world. And I was more excited about meeting these superstars who were artists, and I didn't get to meet a lot of the designers. Often the clothing is just delivered, but I got to work with all of these names that you see in beauty stores now, Francois Nars, Orbe, Kevin O'Coin. I got to work with all of them, and I was just very fortunate. Was
there a dress that you were desperate to take away and wear yourself?
No, to be frank, they're never comfortable. I'm more of a Collingwood Birkenstock kind of gal. I like to see them on and then take them off.
So if we saw you in Collingwood, what would we be seeing you wear?
Well, I normally have on my Lululemon sweatpants and a white t-shirt, and I'm on my little bike, riding around. I love that I don't have to drive here.
Well, if you're being a real estate agent, you're not in your Lululemon sweatpants.
Well, this is true. This is just going to the grocery store.
Okay, so what's your real estate agent attire?
Oh, well, Engel and Volker has a very sort of professional vibe. So I'm in my suits and my which I love. It's so nice to go to the office and wear a suit and dress up a little bit for work.
I bet there's a Collingwood ladies store that would have loved to have outfitted you.
Well, you know what? I'm a brand ambassador for one here called Lemonwood. There are beautiful stores here, Cora's and Coriander and Elaine Dickinson, and they've helped me out a lot over the years for events.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit about your movement from modeling to acting. How did that happen?
It was not a very popular decision. When I was 19, I finished high school with my friends. Somehow I fast-tracked and finished with them and said to my agent, Eileen, that I was moving to LA to become an actress. And that was not popular. She said, you're too tall. You're never going to work as an actress. Renee Russo's trying and she's never going to. And then, of course, she had a huge career. But I just needed some autonomy, and I needed to just grow up. I had always done what everyone told me to do, and I really just needed to have some space. And I moved to LA, to a beautiful little tiny place on the coast, and had the California dream. And then I started acting. Yes, I started. One of my first jobs was on The Bold and the Beautiful. And then I was very fortunate. I never had to waitress. I was working on the soap for a few years. And then I lived in Australia for a show called Beastmaster. And in between, I did lots of sci-fi.
Sci-fi?
Which I loved.
Why sci-fi?
Because, you know what? Because I don't get cast as I'm 6'2". I don't get cast as the girl next door. The male actors are quite a lot often, shorter than I am. So I get cast as the cyborg, transgender alien, whatever they have for me. So I just, that's my theory, why I did so much sci-fi.
At 6'2", do you still wear heels?
Oh, sure. When I'm dressed up.
So you're 6'6" or something like that in heels.
It's true.
That's got to
It's
be
rare.
intimidating to Tom Cruise or people like that.
Well, yeah, that's why they don't hire me. That's why I'm selling real estate.
Do you regret that? Do you wish you were doing more acting?
No, my height really, got me in the door for my career. And I never would have acted if I hadn't modeled, because modeling gave me the confidence to try acting.
Yeah.
And so, no, I wouldn't change anything. I like my height.
Do you have advice to people that on how to be a good model, how to strut the runway?
I've always said to young girls, it's not so much about being a pretty girl. You have to bring to the table your personality, and people have to want to work with you. So you have to come out of your shell, be a bit of an actor on stage in front of the camera. You can't just rely on being a pretty girl. They want someone who's going to elevate the whole crew, make them happy, and bring energy to the photographs or on the runway. So to bring your personality to the stage. I
know you'll find this very hard to believe, but I actually was on a runway a couple of times, and yeah, I know it's
where
in Mississauga and Toronto and places like that.
Nice.
And I was doing a keynote speech, and I was walking the runway right after someone who had won, probably not the same supermodel contest that you won, but a supermodel contest, Canada's Top Supermodel or something that was called. And I asked her for some advice, and she said, "The best advice I can give you is to stride strong, confident, and bold."
That's good. I like that too.
I thought it was good for modeling, runway walking, speaking, and life in general.
I think she's right.
What about the negatives of your business? Have you encountered some of the things about eating or dieting or sexual assault that has been so much in the news in regards to modeling and acting and stuff like that?
I was very fortunate because I started really at a high level, and I, in that way, was somewhat protected from when you're starting at the bottom and trying to get, in the door. I think, the quality of people that you run into is a lot scarier. So I was very fortunate in that way. And eating, sure, like when I was modeling, the body image was, I think, a lot more positive. Women had curves. It was the 80s. It was sort of athletic body types. And so you could be a size 8 and it was totally fine. And now you just can't to walk the runway. The women are so slim. So I think I just came along at a time that was really lucky for me.
Did you have any casting couch issues?
I think every woman, whether it's entertainment or not, is hit on, and put in terrible positions. And sure, I was, but I never had to or even entertain that idea. I was just very lucky that I was in a position where I didn't have to deal with those people and I could walk away.
Excellent. You've had huge success in your career. You've been, a great example of a Canadian making it big. Do you ever wish that people could make it big and stay in Canada, or going to New York and LA and Paris are the things one must do?
You know what? I think it is unfortunate that we sort of admire Canadians after they've made it elsewhere. But there are just more opportunities. It would be nice to be able to just stay here, but we've gotten much better. We have more production now in Canada. big shows are shot here. And yeah, I wish people we could just have stayed here at home and rather than living in LA, you know?
So you won this big contest at, did you say 14?
Mm-hmm.
What did you do before that led you to this opportunity that you could win the contest?
Well, it was very quick. I asked my mom to take me to the agencies because I had caught wind of people telling her that I should model. So she said I was too young and she wouldn't take me. So I made 8 appointments on my own at 13, when I was 13 years old. And I still have that piece of paper. And I said, Mom, I've got 8 appointments and they all want to see me. And they had open calls at the agencies. And I said, can you take me? And she did, against her better judgment. And so I went with Judy Welch, who was my agent in Toronto, and she submitted my photos to Eileen Ford. And then the rest is history. And I won the whole darn thing.
And were you 6'2" then?
Not quite. When I was 14, I was 5'11".
Oh God, you must have been the tallest lady in school.
Oh yes, school, yes, not in fashion.
You didn't play basketball?
I certainly did. I've got the pictures to prove it.
And what else? What were the other big?
What sports?
What sports? What activities? What things did you love?
Well, I really loved track and field, and I excelled in track. Of course, all of that went away when I started modeling because I was gone 300 days a year, you know. Yeah. So I loved the 800 and javelin, and yeah, I remember competing for my high school.
And you said that you were wearing your T-shirt and your sweats around Collingwood when you're exercising. What do you do today to keep active?
You know, I hike up the mountain every day when I'm in Collingwood, or I go running. I really love to be outside. Then it doesn't feel like working out to me. I really hate the gym. So I suspend my membership in the summer and in the 3 months when I can run and hike and walk everywhere and just get outside. That's what I try to do, keep moving.
We're chatting tonight with Monika Schnarre, real estate agent, fashion model, actress. If you need some real estate advice in Collingwood, give her a call. We're going to take a final break and come back with some concluding comments in just a minute. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I've had a really fun time tonight meeting someone that I've always watched, I've admired. I think I admitted that I bought your Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. Monika Schnarre, who is a model, was a model, an actress, is still an actress, was in Hello Magazine this past week, was in RuPaul's Drag Race, and has now launched a real estate agent business in Collingwood, Ontario. Monika, what makes you happy?
You know, spending time with my family and friends and really just getting back to nature makes me happy. If you can get outside, if we could all just get outside for carve out some time each day, I think we would be a much healthier, happier people.
If I or some of our listeners want to check out some real estate in Collingwood and they want to give you a call, how do they best do that? How do they contact you best?
So engelandvolker.com or my Instagram and Facebook page.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to have to go out and buy Hello Magazine.
Yes.
Well, that's our show for tonight, everybody. Thanks, Monika, for joining us. I remind you, I'm on every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock on 960 AM. You can stream me online, even from Collingwood, Ontario, at www.saga960am.ca. Monika Schnarre, it's been a real pleasure. Good luck in your new business venture. And everyone, have a great weekend. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.